My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips. Red if snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hair be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses, damask, red, and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than from the breath my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love is rare, as any she belied with false compare. Now, I know everyone in here knows that Sonnet 130 by William Shakespeare. I don't have to ask. I know nobody has that as a question. But I know a lot of you are thinking right now, how did he do that so awesome? Well, I know that's not a question you're asking yourselves right now. You're really going, why in the world did he start his TED Talk with this weird Shakespearean-sounding poem? And the answer to that is, I learned that 23 years ago. I know most of you believe that I just graduated from high school, but I graduated from high school in 1994, and I was in a acting class. There was 10 of us, and it was an amazing experience. We got the opportunity to do directing our own shows, working on different scenes and things, and we were asked to present to the 11th graders who were reading Shakespeare plays that year a variety of scenes and sonnets to help them see Shakespeare's language come alive. And I honestly did not rehearse this other than just to make sure that I had it fresh in my mind. It has stayed with me for 23 years. And I have certainly done other Shakespeare pieces. I've done other monologues and things like that that haven't stayed with me. But I think it's because this one, I was tasked with bringing the nuance of the sonnet alive for my classmates. And it was something that I didn't want to mess up on. And so I spent countless hours really studying the language, so much so that it is a part of me now. It is something that, if I just say my mistress's eyes, I can run through it and usually get less than one or two words wrong. And it'd be fun to check the tape and see if I got it, but I'm pretty sure I got every word exactly right, which is impressive, but also is due to the fact that, as you know, Shakespeare writes in iambic pentameter. It's very metrically driven and rhythmically driven, so it's easy to remember. But that's not the point of this talk. The point is, why is that something that's still with me today? And it's the title of my talk, The Play's the Thing. And I actually don't mean the actual presentation I did. That was the thing, and it's the way I started this TED Talk, but it's what went into that play. And although that was something that I found in high school, and I'll get back to what that looked like, it really started for me in third grade. And I know I'm probably not alone. Most of us don't remember really vivid details from our childhood unless there are these big, highs or lows. And maybe this is a high point in my life, but I remember vividly sitting at my kitchen table in 1985, the early winter of 1985, and we had the local newspaper, like the Sun Focus here. I lived in Plano, Texas, a suburb of Dallas. And I don't know why I was reading the paper at 9. I guess that's what I did. And I came across this ad, and I just out of nowhere go, "Mom!" And I think I scared her because she was like, "What, Timmy?" And please don't ever call me Timmy. That's what my mom does. But at the time, I think I legitimately scared her. And she said, what is it? "Mom, I have to audition for younger generation, the Plano youth show choir." Unfortunately, I don't have an image from 1985, but this is, I believe, the 2012 younger generation. And I did wear that tux. We had other matching outfits. But I don't know what it was. It wasn't like I had watched the show Glee or the movie Pitch Perfect because they didn't exist. There was something in that description of the show choir that I said, I have to be a part of that. And I certainly was interested in performance and stuff through school, but I've never been more convinced of something. And don't want to brag, but I did make the show choir. And stayed in there for 4 years. It was amazing. We got to perform all over the city, usually banks or nursing homes. It's weird how those two want youth choirs all the time. But we did get to go to SeaWorld on our big trip. I found out that this year's group gets to go to Carnegie Hall, so kind of got dissed on that one. But it was this amazing opportunity to participate in a community where, yes, the play, the performance was the thing, but what I learned there and what started to develop in high school was that I didn't necessarily, well, just full disclosure, I'm not that talented. I'm good at like coming together with a group of people and putting things together, getting it done, but I'm not like this singular talent that was just showcased. What I loved, though, was being part of this community, being part of this group. And I had the opportunity, I was very lucky, even though I went to high school in Texas, the arts were very valued, and so I was able to take many different classes related to the performing arts. And so my senior year, I was able to take choir, show choir, the acting class that I had mentioned before. And what I learned in all of those situations was that, yes, the final performance was amazing, but it was everything that led up to that that really made that final performance amazing, that really brought me fully alive. And so, Ton, this is your cue. So this, unfortunately, the full video is on VHS, and I need to get it converted to a DVD. But I was able to locate a little clip from, this happens to be my junior year, but our final showcase show choir performance. And the reason I'm showing it in this first part is not anyone you'd recognize unless you were there in 1993, which I know none of you were because you were not born. But coming up after this is a young Tim Leistikow. Yeah, that's me right there. And it's hard to see, but I'm like really engaged and super into this, which makes, I didn't cut it off fast enough. Ton, thank you. Which is interesting because, like I said, I wasn't that spectacular. But being part of that group of people, being part of a community that I got to contribute to and in return contributed to me, is something that really gave me a purpose. And I know some of you are thinking about what's life after high school going to look like. I had no idea. And I'm very lucky that my parents were staying on top of me because I was just ready to kind of hang out and do nothing. But I was able to go to school for a couple years as an acting major. Again, not because I had great talent. As it turns out, you don't have to actually go to school to be an actor. You can just go and, if people want you, they'll hire you. But what I learned there was kind of what I had started figuring out in high school, but more so because of the fact that that's all I did. I was an acting major, and so the majority of my day was spent doing that. And what I found there that has now permeated every aspect of my life is that, yes, the final product is always important, whether it's in a sporting context, in an academic context, honestly, in a relationship context. But what makes it worthwhile is connecting, is figuring out how you can contribute, because then in giving of yourself, of being part of that process, you receive so much. That was my experience. So much so that I was willing to do this. That's a legit picture from a show that I did in college that I was not tremendously amazing in. But again, I'm having a blast. And my point is that that's probably not realistic for most people to continue to dress like that and not have ramifications. But that joy that's in that photo is something that I found in every aspect of my life today, whether it's work. I crave situations where I get to collaborate with others. Not because of the final product. Again, that can be tremendously fun, and when it works out, that's awesome. But because of the give and take, the play, if you will. In parenting, in my relationship with my spouse, with family and friends, whenever I can find a way to be a part of something that's bigger than me, where I'm not the center of it, life is like perfect. And I get to see it through the eyes of students, which is awesome. And I believe my job is to figure out how to encourage you to play on, encourage you to find that thing that connects you. And I also get the pleasure of doing that with my own children, one of which is way more into sports and one of which is way more into the performing arts. And in both cases, I tell them it's not about the final result. it is awesome, whatever that final result is, and especially if you get some recognition. But truly, and I can't put it any more plainly than this, play on, because it's through that play that you actually find what makes life worth living. Thank you.